Where's that at? Hold on. How you doing, Instagram? I'm out of town, so bear with me for 1 second. I am trying to get this off my screen. One. I got this stuff on my screen. Trying to get all. That's what happens when you go out of town. Okay, that's not it. Oh, must be this one. Hold on. There we go. All right, you all. Today is Friday, June the 9th, 2023. And also, welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, and Real Live with Damon, the agent. As I mentioned last week, I'm out of town currently. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So I had to push my podcast back a few hours. But at the same time, because last week we had such a great return when I got off of my live as far as Q&A, I decided to bring that back this week, being as though that I'm out of town. And I did want to answer each and every one of yours questions. So last week I did a Q&A at the end of my podcast, and there were people who were sending me messages afterwards. So I wanted to start today with doing Q&A. So today, the first question, which I answered last week anyway, but I will answer it again, being as though this is a new week. It said, will the interest for homes go down? Basically, they asked me, will the interest rate for homes go down? And that's a very good question. Here's the thing, like I previously mentioned, with the interest rate, just like with the economy, we can all predict, but reality is we never know. Now, here's the thing. The interest rate has gone down slightly, but they also have gone back up slightly too. So if you're waiting on the interest rate to go down, I mean, I can't predict if it is or if it isn't, because as you all know, based off what the news is saying in the economy, they had a deficit in which they just pushed the ceiling up a little bit. So that all plays a big role as far as interest rates are concerned. The economy plays a huge role when it pertains to the interest rate. So when you're asking about the interest rate, I really like people to focus on the whole deal. And the reason why I say focus on the whole deal is because it's not just the interest rate. It's the price of the home. It's your monthly payments. It's all of these things. It's how equity is being built in your home over time. So these are the things that are really crucial when it pertains to buying a home. Okay, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. But at the same time, I'm going to go through some of these other questions that had come in that I did not get a chance to answer. So, here we go. Another question is it easier to purchase a newly built home or a home that's been listed on the market? The question is it easier to buy a newly built home or a home that's on a market? Let me answer that. Okay. The question is basically asking, is it better to buy new construction or better to buy a resale home that's already on the market? And that's going to really depend. And the reason why I say that is if you're looking at new construction, it depends on if the new construction is going to take a while to be built, or is it already built? It's also going to depend on with the resale, that if the house has been renovated or if it needs to be updated. There are many variable factors when you're looking at new homes and resales. There are benefits to both. A new construction basically gives you newness. You're the first person who owns the home, and it is brand spanking new. With that being said, when you're getting something that's brand new, understand you're paying for the price too. With a resale home, sometimes you can get something that's less than the new construction, but still is relatively good to live in. So that's going to be always based off preference when it pertains to new construction versus resale. That's always going to be based off preference. But, new constructions are very good. You get the latest appliance, updates, everything that's going on. Resales depends, again, location, depends on the condition of the home. It depends on the bones, depends on if it's renovated or if it's not renovated. So these things are going to be, just going to be determined. It's all about people's preferences. So Is it better to buy new construction or resale? It depends solely really on you. Do you want new or do you don't mind used? I mean, if you prefer to have something brand spanking new, just understand there's a price that's associated with that. So you're going to be paying the price for new construction. New construction, you know what I'm saying? They have, you know what I'm saying? It comes with a cost. You know, anything that's new or the latest is normally more expensive than things that are not as new. So please keep that in mind. Okay. The other question that was asked was, how long does it take to close on a home? How long does it take to close on a home? And please forget my background. I'm in a hotel, so I wasn't in my studio today to do the podcast, but I still wanted to come to you a lot. Again, the question is, how long does it take to close on a home? Now, the typical time it takes for a loan to close is 30 days, 1 month. So that means if you need to be moved, let's say by July 31st, which is the end of July, you need to be under contract by June 30th, the end of June, because it's going to take roughly 30 days. Then there are some exceptions to the rule where some lenders can close a deal in 18 to 21 days. And then you also have some other lenders, mainly banks, that prefer 45 to 60 days. So it's really going to depend on what you're using for your financing. If you're using a traditional loan with a traditional bank, understand they take longer to process their loan. They take anywhere from 45 to 60 days. If you're using a mortgage broker, a lot of times they take roughly 30 days. But there are many mortgage brokers that also can close a deal within 18 to 21 days. So the typical time is 30 days, though, 1 month. So that means once you go under contract, most likely you're going to go to settlement 30 days or a month later. That is the typical time that it takes to close on a home. All right. Another question that I've been asked is, as a realtor, what has been your biggest accomplishment? What are your strengths and what is your weaknesses as a realtor? As a realtor, my biggest accomplishments, I would say, is just helping people. I love to help people. It brings me joy when I see that I've helped someone get into a home, especially someone who never owned a home, and they dreamed of getting a home to build wealth for their family or to have more space because of the situation that they were previously in, or even if they need to sell a home and they get their equity out their home and they take their money to go on vacations or to set up trust funds or whatever for their kids or grandkids. These things are the biggest accomplishments to me. It's not my individual accomplishments when it pertains to, real estate. That is nice and all, but I never really, me personally, I got into real estate as a means, to an end when I was working, and also for me to create freedom amongst myself. But I also got into it to help people because I felt like that I can help people, especially with the knowledge that I have, and direct them in the right way. Because I remember back in the early 2000s when I had bought a house, and I felt as though that lender and I felt as though that realtor were all about the money. And me, one of my sayings is, I'm not all about money. I feel like you'll get paid regardless if you do the right thing. And I've always believed in doing the right thing. So when it pertains to me getting into real estate, my biggest accomplishment is just helping people, seeing that people are happy to buy a home, seeing that people are happy to sell a home. That is my biggest accomplishment. The other one is, what are your strengths and weaknesses as a realtor? My strength, I would say, is my negotiating skills. My negotiating skills, I would say, is unmatched. I don't play when it pertains to my clients. I am like a lawyer, but on the real estate side, when I'm representing my clients, I can have clients that have given testimonies about this. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that people may know from watching HGTV or whatever it is they watch, but there's a lot of stuff that people do not know. And the thing about it is, when people don't know, sometimes the people that they're dealing with know that they don't know. So because they know that they don't know, they'll take advantage of people. And sometimes when people feel like they're in a vulnerable place and everything, they'll be gotten. And that's happened on many occasions as well too. I've had situations where I've gotten phone calls from people who have sold their house to shiesty investors, to people they shouldn't have sold it to. I've gotten calls from people who might have used another realtor and everything. And I was like, well, why didn't you call me first? But my strength, I would say, is my negotiating skills, because my negotiating skills is unmatched. There are plenty of agents, but there's only one Damon the agent. And I say that for a reason. People can get on social media, post houses and everything, but what's in my head is totally different what's in a lot of other people's head. And I have experience, expertise, knowledge that when people are in certain situations, because here's the thing, in real estate, all transactions are not going to be smooth. They're not. That's just, if you do real estate long enough and you have enough business, you'll see they're all not going to be smooth. But it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond. And depending on how you respond can be the deal of you winning or losing, the difference in as far as paying money, or losing money, earning money or losing money. So because of that, my strength is my negotiating skill. And it asked me, what is my weakness as a realtor? My weakness is the administrative work. Okay. Anybody knows me, I deal with my paperwork. I deal with a lot of stuff, but I've had some bad experience when it pertains to admin stuff. So because I've had the bad experience, I had a virtual since the last 2 virtual systems I had within the last year and a half. But my weakness is my admin. That's my weakness and stuff. Now, when it pertains to the contract, I write it all up. I submit everything to the appropriate people. I turn it in my office. But then when it pertains to my desk and everything, my admin has to be my weakness when it pertains to real estate. So I would say that is my weakness when it pertains to real estate. And if you all have any questions, please feel free to put it in there so I can answer. But I'm answering these Q&A. This Q&A. And this question right here isn't related to real estate that somebody asked, but I'll go ahead and ask and I'll address it and understand when I answer it. This is just my opinion. So they say, what are your thoughts about there being more women on the planet than men? It's like 3 questions to this, y'all. No, 4 questions to this. So I'm gonna answer each one individually. What are your thoughts about there being more women on the planet than men? I really don't have any thought when it pertains to that, to be honest with you, because I don't know. I'm not God. I can't really answer that question. How many, why are there more women on the planet than men? I mean, I think that's just the way the world is, I mean, what if it was more men than women? A lot of men died, through violence. And if you can pull up the number of men that have died through violence since you've been alive and I've been alive, I'm pretty sure it would make all the women balanced out. But because of that, it's nothing we can do. And someone say, will this affect the next generation? I think everything affects the next generation. Everything we do now affects the next generation. So I believe that it. And then they said, should women start being more humble because of these issues? Okay, so I'm taking it that because they're asking why there are more, what are my thoughts of more women on the planet than men? Will this affect the next generation? Should women start being more humble because of men? Listen, I'm not a relationship expert, so I'm not going to really get into that. Everything's based off opinion and experience for everyone out here. We all have our own viewpoints on everything. Because the last question they asked was, do you agree on 50-50 in a relationship or the man paying for everything? That's all situational. I can't address that. You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of households where the woman might be paying for everything. There are plenty of households where the man might be paying for everything. There are plenty of households where it's 50-50. That's always situational. It depends on what goes on in each individual household, what they discuss, and what they agree upon. I really like to stick to real estate when it pertains to to questions because of the fact is, like I said, I'm not a relationship expert. I can only give my opinion on anything when it pertains to anything outside of real estate. I really want to stick to real estate. So please, when you'll ask me questions, please ask me questions when it pertains to real estate. I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, you asking me that question, but again, I'm one man. There are plenty of men in this world. I can only base my opinions on my comments on my experiences, but I'm here to talk about real estate. So when it pertains to real estate, if you have any Q&As, questions, I have answers. Today is Friday. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. That's why my background looks the way it is. This is the hotel room. But I still came on today just so I can reach out to each and every one of you all. I appreciate you all coming on each and every Friday like you all do. Hold on, I'm checking my platforms for all questions. Hold on. All right, y'all. Yeah, so all right, what else I got? Let me see any more questions right here. What are your strengths and weaknesses? How long does it take the house to go on the market? Listed. Okay. All right. Well, let me see if I got any more questions going on right here, because I answered those questions. So if you have any questions, please send them in right real quick. I'm going to go to my brief topic for the moment. Hold on. All right, I am back. Now, because Father's Day is coming up, I want to talk real quickly about fathers matter. And this is regardless of what race it is. You know, throughout the history of time, fathers have been very impactful on their children, whether they were there physically or not, whether they were there mentally or not, because sometimes a man can be in the home, but not in the home. He could be a man in the house, but not of the house. And when I say that, meaning sometimes his presence, as far as what he do or doesn't do, has a strong impact on his children. Yesterday, there was a panel going on about fathers, and I was just listening to people talk. And I'm actually going to post the little short portion that I commented on. I'm going to post that probably sometime soon. I don't know, tomorrow or not. But when I was just listening to some of these men talk about the impact of their fathers not being there, and then sometimes the fathers being there, but doing more for others than they were for themselves, it just made me just realize that, I don't know, it's so much going on in the world today. And with that being said, though, fathers really need to be more impactful and more involved in their kids' life. It is better to be present in your kid's life than to be absent, always blaming the mother. I say that to say is, yes, there are plenty of fathers, including myself, who have had kids by women that, you know, that gave us difficult times to see our kids. But that doesn't neglect you of your responsibility as far as being a father. I say that to say because when I was listening to some of these men talk, and, you know, some of them grew up with their father being around, but their father choosing not to be around, meaning they were close, but they choose not to come. I've heard so many stories and seen so many situations where men have used the excuse of the mother of their child and then not coming around. And when I say that, meaning, like, for example, if the mother chose to move on and got involved in another relationship, fathers be like, oh, well, have him to raise the boy. But here's the thing. In my opinion, at that moment, you are very emotional and you insecure and jealous because the woman has moved on. So now you're taking it out on the child. The child didn't ask to come into this world. See, the problem with so many men is we can go out there and have sex with a woman, but then we can't be responsible when it pertains to the kid that's created from the sex you had with the woman. then you want to make excuses. You want to say, oh, well, let her do it, let this do it. I mean, I feel as though as a man, like for me, you know what I'm saying, I have 4 grown kids. My 4 grown kids about 3 different women. I had to deal with 3 women at one time giving me a hard time with seeing my kids on top of paying them child support at the same time. So I know how hard it can be. I know how you can get the oppositional behavior from them. I know how hard it can be when your money is short and you got to pay for this or that. I know how short it is. But the one thing that I also know is when there's a will, there's a way, you know. And when I say that, meaning when you make an effort, things sometimes fall in line. Doors open that were once closed. People assist you that know that you're trying to do what's best by your kids. I'm not saying that every situation is perfect out there when it pertains to your kids and your kids' mothers and stuff. But, you know, have you ever thought about when your kid grew up, what are they going to say about you? You know what I'm saying? How are they going to feel about you? It's easy to be angry and say, oh, yeah, I don't care what they think. I don't care how they feel. But that's your legacy that you actually leaving on with your, you know what I'm saying? You know, there are plenty of people who, when their parents pass away, their mother passed away, their father passed away, they are boo-hooing, crying. They really miss them. They really wish their parent was there. You know, as men, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever really had a conversation with your kids? Have you told your kids that you love them? You know, these are simple things that a lot of men don't think about, and they simple in the aspect that a lot of men do these things, but it's kind of shocking to me about how many men don't do these things. How many men never told their kid they love them? You know, how many men never spent time with your kids? Like, you know, you'll spend money on your car to get your car washed, to get your car tinted, you know what I'm saying? But you won't take your kid to go get something to eat because you're sending her child support and everything. You know what I'm saying? So you want to take it out and everything. Here's the thing about child support. It's going to end one day. It always ends. It's only for 18 years. I mean, even though 18 years is a long time, is not sometime because time flies. And then once time flies, then what happens? You know, then what happens? You know, the thing about it is, though, is, you know, we don't think about that. And I say that to say that I really would like to challenge all men to step up to the plate to try to be a better father to your kids. You know what I'm saying? Father's Day come and there are fathers out there who have been good to their kids and they don't even get acknowledged on Father's Day or their birthdays. And then there's always fathers out there who ain't did nothing for their kids and the kids are crazy about them until they grow up and realize that their father wasn't about anything. And I just say fathers matters in so many ways because we are the head and we are the start and we are our kids' first biggest fan that they look up to. Our kids look up to us the moment they're born. And then we let them down so many times as fathers, as men. And there are plenty of men who have done that. And I just say that to say that I think we need to do better, men, as fathers. All of us need to do better. And I think that, you know what I'm saying, when it pertains to acknowledging fathers, you gotta acknowledge the men who have been there, you know, whether you like them as not. Because one thing that I heard yesterday was, you know, it was one person who was talking and he was just talking about how his father was around. He had started another life, had other kids by another woman, but he never came around. This was a grown man. So I know it still bothers him because the way he was talking. And I say that to say is, you know, you never know the impact that you have on your kids, but understand as a father, you are very impactful on your kids. Like I said in the beginning, whether you are there or not, you're impactful. You know what I'm saying? You may not be there and stuff, but here's the thing about life. A lot of times when people get older and their health starts to deteriorating, you know, they want to make amends and they want to apologize to everyone that they've ever hurt and everything. That's all good, you know, before you die to make amends with your maker. But while you're alive, why not make things right? Sometimes when people start to have illness and sickness and stuff, it's all due to karma. Karma comes back on you in one way or another. Sometimes people think they get away with stuff, but you never really get away with stuff. It always catches up with you in the end. And I just say that to say that, you know, you got to think about how you're treating your kids and stuff. You know, no person, man or woman, has any good luck when you don't do right by your kids. You don't. You don't have good luck. You wonder why you never have any good luck? If you're not honoring your mother and father, and if you're not taking care of your kids, a lot of times your bad luck is associated with that. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? It's called karma. It comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. But I just wanted to share that input with you all. So I'll be right back for a recap. Hold on. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining me. So let me do a recap. I'm going to go back over some of these questions real quick and do my recap. Now, it was asked of me as far as what was better, a newly built home or a resale home. And again, like I mentioned, that's always situational, and it just depends. There are pros and cons with both. But if you get a new construction most of the time are slightly more pricier than the resale. So depends on what you're looking to do when you're talking about getting a new. If you want to be the first one to own, yes, a new home is good. But if you want something that's more affordable as far as getting more for your money, sometimes a resale does just that. And then also I was asked, what was my biggest accomplishment? My biggest accomplishment is the satisfaction and joy that I get in helping people. Seeing my clients, happy and win brings me big accomplishment. And also, what was my strength and weaknesses? Like I said, my negotiating skills is unmatched. I can go on and on about my strength, but I'll just say that it's unmatched. There are people who get up in situations and stuff and can't get out. I know how to navigate. And my weakness, like I said, is my admin. My desk and everything back in my office. I need to get a great admin. When I say great, I need her to be so great that she makes me better. So, but that's always been a challenge. So, and then also I just mentioned about fathers. Fathers matter in many ways. When this Father Days come up, to those men who've been in your life, who've been like a father figure, if a man has raised you, if a man has been around you, he's your father, acknowledge him. We give it Mother's Day, get all the acknowledgement in the world, and mothers deserve it. But Father's Day don't get nothing. What they get? Tie, socks. You know what I'm saying? Don't get no type of, you know what I'm saying? But fathers need to be acknowledged too. Fathers matter. So, like I said, I'm out of town. Next week I'll be back on my regular scheduled time of 12 noon on Friday. I thank you always for joining me at Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, and Real Live with Damon, the agent. I'll see you soon.